All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Wild Woody podcast. This is episode 4. It's a non-book week, so we get to talk about whatever the heck I want this week. And my topic that I have chosen is skills and skill set because I don't know, I feel like not a lot of people talk about like skills or things that they're working on or what they want to work on. Usually when people talk about, whatever's going on, it's like, oh yeah, I'm busy at work, I'm busy at school, taking care of the kids and whatnot. And you might dibble dabble in hobbies and whatnot, but no one really, oh, sorry girl, I hit the mic. No one really talks about whatever skills they might be trying to work on, like languages or building or asking good questions and being a good conversationalist and whatnot. So I think it would be interesting to talk about the skills that I'm working on or that I would like to do a better job working on and just talk about them. Maybe say what motivated me to start working on that skill or whatever, So, let's just get to it. Now, this one actually isn't on the list. I just thought of this one right now. But the one skill that I'm working on actively as I make this podcast and just in everyday life is being better articulated when I speak, or maybe being a little more thoughtful, because sometimes I just don't think about how it is that I want to say something. So then I have a pause, but in that pause, I usually say, or so. I'll be like, so, what do you want to talk about, or something. You know what I'm saying? And so I often repeat things, or I say, so, or the word like, way too much. So that's one skill I'm currently working on, because I don't want to sound like a high schooler that lives their life on their phone, okay? I don't want my English class to be Instagram. That's not how I'm learning to speak. And so I'm working on it. And I think everyone should work on that. I think actually one of the best ways to get better at speaking in a more elegant way to widen your vocabulary and whatnot is probably reading. Okay, because lately I have been incorporating words that I normally would not incorporate. But you know what? I've been reading a lot. And so when I read, because our authors are thinking about words and whatnot all day, how to say this, how to give this image, how to present this scene. And so they use lots of different words that, we might not typically use on an everyday basis. And so when you're reading whatever books and they are using this wider set of vocabulary than you have, then you're getting it used in a scene, you're understanding the context, and then you subconsciously pick it up and then you use it. Okay, so maybe there's a little tip for you. You need to read more. I love reading. It's a green flag for me. Anyways, let's move on. Currently, I'm working on getting better at building, okay? I actually, since I've started, I'm obsessed. I love it because I can take such pride in whatever it is that I built. Like, I made this. I created this. I put in the time and effort. I did the measurements. I bought the wood. I got whatever tools. I used the tools to put it together. I sanded it. I stained it. I put the love, sweat, and tears into this creation. And because I made it, I can tailor it, right? Because you might go online and you're like, oh, I like this table or something, but it's not the right size. It's a little too short or it's a little too tall. But if I'm making it, I get the measurements exactly right. Or maybe I don't get the measurements exactly right, but I can take it apart and then do a little magic trick or something. I'm not an expert yet. However, I have Nicholas, who's a great builder. He's very good. He's very good at anything hands-on, really. It's almost a little unfair, but he's been doing it his whole life, so he's got a head start on me. And so, if I don't know how to do something, then I tell him. And lately, actually, what's funny is that we'll be building something, and he, being the gentleman that he is, he's like, oh, I'll do it for you. or whatever. He wants to make it easier for me. And I'm like, no, Nick, you can't. I have to do it that way. I know how to do it. But that's just part of him being a stud. Anyway, so back on building. I freaking love this. Okay. And not only is it good for like furniture and whatnot, but me and Nick have talked about wanting to build our own like small house. Not necessarily a tiny house, okay? I need a little more room than 200 square feet. But building just a small house for us because, we're just a young couple with a dog and a cat. We don't need a mansion. But it would be cool to know how to build our own place, how to fix whatever, and it can't just be him doing that, We both work, and if he's the only one building, it's not gonna work. So I've been learning through building my shelves and whatnot how to build, and I freaking love it. Like I said, you take such pride in it, and it means so much more. And then someone asks, oh, where do you get it? Oh, I built it. Yeah, you actually can't buy that because I built it. I put in the hours myself, I bought the wood and stuff. So it's kind of unique. It's kind of one of a kind, if you try and resell it, the value's high because of how rare it is, just kidding. I mean, that's not how supply and demand work. It might be rare, but it's not worth anything. Anyways, now that we got a little off topic about building, we're going to move on to another skill that I'm currently working on is cooking. Now, growing up, my family did not do, I wouldn't say a lot of cooking. Not that a home-cooked meal was unheard of, but it was not an everyday situation, if you catch my drift. And so I would cook like ramen, but I couldn't cook anything else. And I actually, because I ate ramen and stuff like that a lot growing up, it kind of made it so I didn't like cooking because I was like, I don't want to make food, I don't feel like it. I don't know, it had a bad connotation with cooking. But since living with Nicholas is a great cook. He also enjoys it, and it's a good quality time for us, so the connotation has become better. And now I myself, I get excited the past couple days because Nick has been busy. I get excited to try a new recipe and, surprise him with dinner. And obviously he enjoys it, but I enjoy it myself. It's not even just that he gets, I'm so glad to be helping him, but it's oh, I overcame this little thing. I used to not like cooking, and now I can cook. Also, cooking in general, it almost is a sign of, I feel like it's a sign of maturity, because you can't live off fast food and just prepackaged meals your entire life. Or at least you shouldn't. I mean, plenty of people, especially in America, do, but I think it's really important to cook, and if you're an adult and you don't know how to cook, you need to learn. You need to look up recipes, you can look up cooking videos. There's really no excuse not to be learning to cook. Now, you might start off and you're probably not going to be good, but if you're learning to cook, that's what really counts, and you will get better at it. You just will. You guaranteed will improve when it comes to cooking. It just takes some time and then figuring it out, and you can do it. Sorry, I hit the mic again. But I am starting to really enjoy cooking, and I like it a lot. And again, you get to take pride. I made this dish that tastes really good and it's healthy, especially if you're cooking food. Even if you might be making an unhealthy food, it's probably still at least healthier than the store-bought version. You know what I'm saying? My current favorites to make. Now, I actually haven't made these recently. Yesterday, was it yesterday? Or maybe the day before. What's today? Today's Friday. On Wednesday, okay guys, I used store-bought ravioli. Sorry, but I made ravioli, and then I made my own Alfredo sauce, and I cooked up some chicken, sauteed it, and, I made this nice dish, and I cooked broccoli and whatnot, and it was so good. It was so good, guys. I'm very proud of that dish. However, my two favorite dishes that I can make is a creamy avocado pasta, and I use probably 3 to 4 avocados. I hate when you look up a recipe and it's like, you want avocado pasta. And it's like, we use 1 avocado and like 3 cups of heavy cream, or that's not realistic, but you get my point. Like, you look up for this specific ingredient, and then it's like the ingredient base almost doesn't even exist in the recipe. Anyway, so I make like an actual like avocado pasta, heavy on the avocados, and it is so freaking good. I also like to make crunch wraps. If you know, either crunch wraps from Taco Bell or the stack from Moe's, I make those at home, and they're basically just as good. They really are, and I freaking love doing it. So anyways, moving on. So I put traveling. However, I have 2 different sections I want to work on when it comes to traveling. The first section is research and planning. A lot of times when I go on trips, especially if we're in a group, it's other people in the group that plan it out. They know where we want to go and whatnot, which is great. I like to be a little lazy maybe, and I like to just like show up. You know, you can plan it out and I'll show up and be a happy camper. However, that's not great if it's a solo trip, or maybe I'm going with one other person. So I want to get better at researching locations and planning out a nice, good, safe trip in that aspect. My second aspect of traveling that I want to work on is going alone, because especially as a female, anytime you talk about traveling alone, everyone freaks the frick out. Okay, they're like, oh my gosh, that's so not safe, blah blah blah, you need someone, you need to go with a group of people, or you need to go with a man, or blah blah blah. Okay, and not all the time is everyone able to go. Okay, sometimes they don't have whatever money to go, and that's fine, but I still want to go on a trip. I still want to have a good time. And so I would like to work on going alone, because I want to go alone, but then I also, because I've heard it from everyone, then I get anxious, because I'm like, what if they're right? What if it's dangerous? Blah, blah, blah. So I want to overcome that. I don't want to be dumb and naive and just not look at the facts or let myself walk into a bad situation, but I do want to work on being more comfortable in traveling alone and being smart while traveling alone. Next, I put fighting. Sorry, I hit the mic again. When I say fighting, I mean like mostly like self-defense, but I want to feel like if I ever got in a fight, like I have a good chance of winning, or at least dealing tremendous damage. I don't know what it is, but I have this like dream sometimes where I'm fighting someone, and no matter what, like my like hits just go right through them. They don't feel them, they're weak, or they just like don't land. And so I've wanted to work on this skill, and I haven't. Me and Nick have been saying we're going to start taking like MMA classes for fun and whatnot. But technically I'm not working on this skill, but I want to be working on this skill, you know? So I want to be able to kill someone, you know, just take them out. Anyways, moving on. I put listening. Now, listening, with that comes, you have to know what to discern of who you should spend your time listening to and who you should not. Because some people, you know, they want you to listen to them, but they're spewing nonsense. And so that's not what I mean. I just mean when I am listening to like the right people, that I would just, what it is, listen. Because sometimes I've caught myself in the past week or two when I'm talking to people and I get so excited about whatever we're talking about and they're talking for something. Sometimes in my head I can feel like I'm anxious and like ready for them to stop talking so I can go on a tangent about whatever it is. And it's usually a good topic. It's not like I'm ranting poorly about something, but I just like have so much to say on whatever topic that I kind of get distracted and I don't listen because I'm just like waiting for them to stop talking. I'm eager for them to stop so I can cut in and say what I have to say, and then as I'm like waiting, I'm not listening because of how much I'm in my own head. So I need to work on listening. I also need to work on patience. I feel like everyone has to work on patience because we get so caught up in like getting things instantly that we struggle to wait, or like we don't understand why it takes so long for other people to do whatever certain thing. So I need to work on that. Sorry, I got yawn. Oh my gosh. I don't know why I'm so tired. Apologies, my friends. Next, editing and posting. I have a vlog that I filmed in December, and it's like a long vlog, okay? Or it would be. I have a bunch of clips, a few clips from when I went to Michigan, a lot of clips from when I went to Utah with Nick's family, and I have not edited any of the clips. I have not gone back and looked over them. But I filmed a bunch because I was like, oh, I'm going to vlog it. And then I post it. And then I'll post it. Well, I haven't edited it and posted it yet. And it's now March. Very quickly approaching April. And I just need to work on that. And I started a podcast because most of it is, I edit very little. The only thing I edit is the start and the end time. And then the thumbnail. Okay, it takes 10 minutes, maybe. That's why I like the podcast. It's long form, unedited content. I post, you're getting a lot and I'm doing a little. That's the good thing about a podcast. However, I like watching vlogs and nice, well-formed videos. I just don't like editing them, and I'm not quite... I'm not a photographer. I'm not a videographer, okay? I don't know how to get the shot. I don't know how to get it to look whatever certain way. And so because of that, it kind of makes me even want to do it less. So I need to just kind of get over that. We'll see. I don't know. I say that like I want to work on it, but I haven't made really any effort to actually get better with that. Moving on, push-ups and pull-ups. These I'm currently working on. Push-ups I'm definitely getting better at. Pull-ups I still can't do a pull-up. So the thing that's really pushing me is I saw a video. It's like what is it? Oh, it's how many pull-ups can the average woman do? And the guys guess like 2, 3 or whatever. It's 0. The average woman can't do any pull-ups, and I don't want to be the average woman. I don't want to be in like the 90% or whatever it is. I want to be in the 1% and be able to do a mother freaking pull-up. But they're so freaking hard. So I'm working on it. I'm getting stronger. I've been hitting the gym like every day. Moving on, wasting less, as in like less trash. The hard part about this is like a lot of our groceries and things come prepackaged, and when you go to Walmart you can't like refill the container. You have to just get the new container and everything inside. So I'm trying to be a little more conscious in what we waste plastic on. Like I use reusable bags. I don't use plastic bags, and that's like a pretty common one. And I try not to buy like drinks from like gas stations because they come in whatever bottle that you're going to throw out. I rather just fill up my water bottle, you know. So that's a work in progress. I think it's very important to work on your footprint, your, what's it called? It is like your global footprint, I guess. I can't remember the actual term. However, I do think God gave us dominion over the earth, and it's our job to take care of it, you know? And one of the things that really struck me when I was in, I think it was high school, I was watching some documentary. It said, if you had the human race go extinct or whatever on the planet would do great without us. And yet, we do live here. We haven't gone extinct, but there are a lot of problems that stem from humans. I know we can't control everything, but we do contribute, the litter that people throw out their windows and the trash and not taking care of things and not thinking about what habitats or ecosystems we're affecting and changing. And so I think it's very important and even godly to be conscious of our dominion and the care that God instilled in us to pass on to the world. Next, decorating. I want my place to look nice, I'm making the furniture, very proud of it. However, I want to decorate without having dust collectors. I don't want a bunch of knickknacks, and I don't want to buy stuff just to fill up space. I don't want to buy things just to sit on the shelf and collect dust, If you see it on, my shelf, I have, my books, I have this drawing from Nicholas, I have other books and stuff, but, for example, this globe. I bought this globe forever ago, okay? However, this I would consider a knickknack, and I don't need to buy another globe. At least, not one like this. This is just I'm using it as a book stop, It's just collecting dust. It doesn't really serve a purpose, and I don't want to just buy stuff like this to take up space. So, I want to be conscious in the things that I'm getting to decorate. I want them to look great. I want them to be fabulous, but I want them to be useful, or sentimental. You need one of those, but even then, I'm not one for a lot of sentimental stuff. I don't keep a bunch of knickknacks. If I'm going to get something on, say, a trip, I'm going to get, a candle that I'll use. Or, I don't know, maybe I'll get a postcard because it's cute and I can frame it. And then that's a decoration, right? But I'm not going to go and buy, a special spoon. I'm not going to use that spoon, I want something that's fabulous and useful. Moving on, disconnecting from my phone. I have this problem with Instagram. I don't have TikTok, but Instagram has Reels. And so I get caught in scrolling. Sorry, I got yawn again. Okay, I have to get better at not scrolling and working on this. I had Nick this week put a time limit on Instagram, and he knows the password and I don't. So it's a work in progress, but now I find myself, I'll have downtime and I instinctively go to my phone. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear Pickles. She's playing or trying to play with the stray cat through the window. I will instinctively get on my phone and then, Instagram's closed. So then sometimes I'm like, well, I'll just go to this other app. It's no, you're totally not getting over the problem. You're switching out the addiction. And I don't want to switch out the addiction. I want to get rid of it. So now I've been trying to, if I have extra time, I either get in the Bible or get in whatever book I'm reading or go for a walk or something. Strengthening relationships. Now, that's if you just say, I want to work on the skill of strengthening my relationship. That's so broad and that's so general. So I'm going to tell you some specific things that I'm working on. One is calling over texting. I hate texting. I'm horrible at texting. And if you text me, there's a good chance you're not going to get a response. Or a lot of my friends are the same way. I'll text them and I don't get a response. And it's not because we don't like each other. Sorry. But it's because we're busy doing something. And then we'll check our phone, see the text, continue doing it. And then we forget there's text and whatnot. Also, text doesn't convey emotion. And text is so boring because then you have to type it. You get tired of typing. And if you're texting, I feel like you kind of have to force the conversation. And it's not going to lead on. Whereas if you're just talking over the phone, you hear the inflection, the investment, you can hear the excitement in something, you talk a little more about that, and you put in more effort when it's a real live conversation and you're in the moment. Because with texting, you might be having a conversation that takes place over 10 hours because it's you text back whenever you can and they're doing the same thing. But the call is in the moment. And what's great is that you can be talking while doing other stuff. You can multitask. You can't do that texting because you gotta freaking look at your phone and type it out and whatnot. So that's the first way I'm working on strengthening relationships, is getting better at calling family and friends. My second thing is setting up meal dates. I love this because I love going out to eat, but I can't eat out for every meal. That's way too expensive. And I don't want to eat out by myself. So I'll set up like a little date with someone. I actually just came back from having lunch with a friend. And it's great. You catch up over a meal and you can totally focus on hanging out with them because you don't have to go cook or something. Now, you might like cooking with someone. That's really cool too. But I really like getting the experience of going out somewhere, trying new food, and you're going with your friend who you haven't seen in forever, and you get to catch up and talk your hearts out. So, love that. I don't really have a tip for this next section of strengthening relationships, but I think it's important, is mentorships. And I actually have a lot of like mentors in my life. Majority of the people I hang out with, especially for the meal dates, are women 40 and older. And I have like 2.5 friends that I talk to over the phone. And then the women that live near me that I can actually hang out with are like all older women from church that I go, hang out with. They tell me about their lives. I tell them about mine. Maybe get advice or give them advice, You get a new perspective. But I think a mentorship is important, especially if you're an only child, or maybe you were the oldest or the youngest, so you didn't have, if you're the oldest, then you're always the oldest, right? But you need someone older than you to give you insight, because you don't always know what you're doing, So I think mentorships are very important in the realm of relationships. So maybe that's something you need to look into. I don't know, but I can tell you, I have lots of women I look up to who I will go get lunch or something with, or if I'm struggling with something, I'll be like, hey, I need to talk. So I don't know if you can hear Pickles running around, but she's got the zoomies and it's absolutely adorable. Yoga / stretching. I have been doing yoga I do it probably 5 times a week at home. I just look up like yoga before bed and do a chill stretch routine. And I think it's been helping with my back pain because I've been working out. And I also do house cleaning. And if you've ever done house cleaning as a job, you know that it's physical, Like you're bending over to scrub and it's a lot of effort, man. People want to probably blow it off. And they're like, oh, it's not that serious of a job. It doesn't take that much. No, it's a workout. I clean for older people because if I'm struggling, I'm out of breath doing it, they're out of breath doing it. They can't do that. They'll break a hip. So I've been stretching because it helps tremendously. And it's great. It's going great. It's fabulous. I've been doing it consistently for 2 weeks. I don't know. But I think it's working. So you can try it. Fun fact, in what was it? My freshman year of college, I went to a community college. I took a yoga class, and this is during COVID. So the yoga class is online, and we would do sorry if you can hear Pickles. Oh my gosh. Oh, and now Bandit's joining her. So we just have a whole little stampede in the house. So I did yoga online, and we had this one assignment. You have to do one written assignment every week, and I was getting hundreds on everything. Well, then we have this one written assignment, and you have to talk about these different types of yoga, what it means to you, and all of the options she gave are related to yoga being spiritual. And so I wrote my paper, and I was like, yoga for me isn't really spiritual. I just do it for the health benefits of stretching and whatnot. But I made it very clear it's not spiritual whatsoever. She failed me on that assignment, and then every assignment after that, no matter what, I could not get 100. she would give me a 60 or 70, and then I would ask her, like, why did I get this wrong or whatnot, and she couldn't tell me the answer. And so I ended up dropping the class because she was going to fail me because I didn't think yoga was spiritual, which is insane and absolutely pathetic. Anyways, moving on. Doing things alone. Now, I talked about this in traveling, and I also just talked about, like, strengthening relationships, but sometimes you do have to just do things alone. And one thing, this sounds, like, ironic, but you have to make friends alone. You know, now you might get lucky and your friends introduce you to whoever and then you form like a friend group, and that's fabulous. I've yet to have that happen, but sometimes you got to make friends and you got to do it alone, and I'm struggling with that, so I'm working on that. I think I'm going to try doing some workout classes and see how that goes. Next, backpacking. I want to get good at backpacking and camping. The one thing that holds me back from being good at it, this is going to sound so stupid, is going to the bathroom outside. I really don't like that idea. I like having plumbing, and I know that's so, like, prissy and first world to say, but it is, I don't know, it's a mental block, but we're going to conquer it this year. I'm so determined to conquer it, and I'm going to do a cool freaking backpacking trip with Nicholas, and I am so excited about it. Next, business boundaries. Now, I actually feel like I'm very good with boundaries in my personal life. I certainly don't think anyone walks all over me, and if you try to, well, I just don't let you. I'm good at boundaries, and you're not gonna come in and ruin my life or put all the stress on me, etc., etc. However, when it comes to having a business, I own my own business, and it's just me, so I work for myself. However, I have learned that I need to practice some boundaries with customers and whatnot, because I haven't had to do that before. And it's never been like when I worked at other places like Starbucks, it's like, okay, you can get mad at Starbucks. Like, I don't care. It's not my business, but now it is my business. And you want to take it personal, and you can't take it personal because you have to remember it's just a business, but you do put pride in it. And so you have to find that balance. And so that's one skill that I'm working on, is having boundaries within my business and making sure my clients and whatnot show common decency and respect. The very last thing that I have on here is budgeting. I'm actually quite good at budgeting, and I'm very on top of money, and I manage it well. When I was single, before I was married, I certainly did a better job at budgeting. I knew where every cent was going. It's gotten harder, though, to keep track of money when you're trying to keep track of two people spending money, you know. But it's a work in progress, and I have a plan in place. And yeah, so that's one skill that I'm working on. If you have any cool skills that you're working on, please let me know. You can let me know in the comments, especially if you're on YouTube. I don't know that there's comments on Spotify, but I think they did add comments for podcasts. If you have any cool skills, let me know. Maybe I'll pick them up. If you have any suggestions for any of the skills that I mentioned, again, let me know. If you have any ideas for podcast topics or books that you would like to cover, I can literally talk about anything I want, and I will talk about anything I want. So please let me know any ideas, all under the sun. I'll cover literally anything if it's relevant, and to me, sorry. I'm not going to talk about things I have no clue about, but it would, I would appreciate some ideas. And if you liked this episode, let me know. If you have constructive criticism, let me know. Don't just be mean, okay? You'll hurt my feelings. But if you're polite about it, then I might listen to it. Or I might just take the feedback, absorb it, and decide not to listen to it. But, it will be good wisdom to absorb anyways. So, anyways, thanks for listening to this episode, and I will see you, or you'll hear me, next week. Later! you.